lecture, we would be looking at the Flexor Carpi Radialis. We use this image by the side. This is where we have the Flexor Carpi Radialis. And if you try to put this image in its correct anatomical position, this is where we have the medial side, and this is the lateral side. So you would see that the Flexor Carpi Radialis originates from the medial epicondyle, that is herodian dotted red. Even though this muscle is seen to emerge from the medial side, it is seen to be directed laterally. And this is where it runs in the same alignment with the radius. And this is why it is so referred to as Flexor Carpi Radialis. And of course, a flexor muscle, because it is one of the muscles that are located in the anterior compartment of the forearm. Now let's go through this lecture where we'll be describing the specific details on how this muscle originates and its final insertion points. We'll also be including some other important details that you should know as students of anatomy. The Flexor Carpi Radialis is what is herodian at this point. This muscle is a long muscle that is located in the anterior compartment of the forearm, and it is specifically located in the superficial layer. If you go back to our previous lecture on the muscles of the forearm, we described in that lecture that the muscles of the forearm are divided into two compartments. We have the anterior compartment and the posterior compartment. Within the anterior compartment, we say that these muscles are further subdivided into three sublayers. We have the superficial layer, the intermediate layer, and also the deep layer. One of the muscles located in the superficial layer of the anterior compartment of the forearm is the Flexor Carpi Radialis. And this is what is highlighted here in blue. This muscle is seen to be driven inferiorly, where it is seen to be directed laterally. And this is where it falls in the same alignment of the radius. We already described this in our previous slide. You see it finally inserted on the metacarpus. And this is what is herodian at this point. Also, if you drive through the name carpi, carpus in Latin word means wrist. And because it is a flexor muscle, the function of this muscle is to help flex the wrist. This can also be used to deduce the function of this muscle. Now let's drive to this slide where we'll be describing the origin and also the point of insertions of this muscle. We use this image by the side. This is where we have the Flexor Carpi Radialis. This muscle is seen to originate from the medial epicondyle. This is where we have the medial epicondyle here, herodian dotted green. We try to put this image in its correct anatomical position. This is where we have the medial side of the forearm, and on this other side is where we have the lateral side. So we should expect that the medial epicondyle will be located around the medial side. This medial epicondyle is a common site of origin for flexor muscles in the anterior compartment of the forearm. If you go back to our previous lecture on the muscles of the forearm, we already highlighted in that lecture that we have the superficial, the intermediate, and also the deep layers within the anterior compartment of the forearm. In the superficial layer, we have four muscles, and these include the Flexor Carpi ulnaris, the palmaris longus, the pronator teres, and also the Flexor Carpi Radialis, that is herodian in red. So all these four muscles are seen to form the structural component of the superficial layer of muscles in the anterior compartment of the forearm. All these four muscles are seen to have a common site of origin, which is the medial epicondyle. In addition to this, we have the muscle in the intermediate layer in the anterior compartment of the forearm, and this muscle is the Flexor digitorum superficialis. This muscle is also seen to take its site of origin from the medial epicondyle. So you see that the medial epicondyle also serves as a point of origin for other muscles in the flexor compartment of the forearm. So it is important that we also highlight this in case you are asked during examination. After its point of origin from the medial epicondyle, it is seen to be directed to the radial side. And if you go back to this image, you see that the radial side is on the lateral side. Don't forget that the radius is located laterally within the forearm. So you see it directed to run along the alignment of the radius. And this is what is projected here in this image. And if you go more inferiorly, around the anterior part or region of the wrist, it is seen to run in a separate canal that is located laterally to the flexor retinaculum. And this is what is herodian in yellow. Let's try and use this image to further illustrate this. If you look at this structure, This is where we have the flexor retinaculum here that is harrowed in black. The flexor retinaculum is seen to form the roof of the carpal tunnel. So we would imagine that the carpal tunnel is what is highlighted here in blue. And within the carpal tunnel, we have a number of structures. We have 9 tendons of different muscles, and we also have the median nerve. And this is what is projected here in this image. So on the lateral side of this arrangement is where we have this canal that creates a passageway for the flexor of carpi radialis. It is also important for us to add that the tendon of the flexor carpi radialis is not seen to run within the carpal tunnel. Don't forget that the carpal tunnel is what is highlighted here in blue. So it is seen to be positioned in its own separate canal that is located on the lateral side of the flexor retinaculum. And this is what is highlighted here in yellow. So after passing through this canal, it is then seen to be finally inserted on the anterior surface of the base of the second metacarpal bone. Some of its fibers are also seen to be inserted on the anterior surface of the third metacarpal and also the trapezium. Let's look at the actions of this muscle. This muscle, with other muscles in the flexor compartment of the forearm, are seen to exert wrist flexion. And it is able to do this because you see the tendon of this muscle passing through the wrist joint. So when the flexor carpi radialis contracts, you see it pulling the hand close to the forearm. And this expression is known as flexion. Then the other action that it exerts is wrist abduction. If you put the upper limb in its correct anatomical position and you deviate laterally the hand, this is called wrist abduction. So it is this muscle that helps to exert this function. This can also be referred to as radial deviation. Don't forget that the radius is located on the lateral side. So if you deviate towards the radius, this can also be referred to as radial deviation. Let's use this slide to describe the relations of this muscle. It is important that we highlight the relation of this muscle to the other muscles that are located in the superficial layer of the anterior compartment of the forearm. This is where we have the flexor carpi radialis that is harrowed here in green. So before we try to describe its relations, let's try and place it in its correct anatomical position. This will help us for easy understanding. So this is where we have the medial side, and on this other side is the lateral side. Around the medial edge of the anterior compartment of the forearm, one of the muscles that we have in the superficial layer is the flexor carpi ulnaris, and this is what is harrowed here in black. So you see it around the medial edge in the anterior compartment of the forearm as one of the muscles that are located in the superficial layer. This muscle is seen to run along the alignment of the ulna, and this is why it is so referred to as the flexor carpi ulnaris. Don't forget that the ulnar bone is located around the medial side, while the radius is located laterally. So if you go more laterally, you have the palmaris longus, and this is what is also harrowed here in black. Then if you go more lateral to the palmaris longus, then we have the flexor carpi radialis, and this is what is harrowed here in green. So you can see the relationship between these three muscles. Then going more laterally to the flexor carpi radialis, we have the pronator teres, and this is what is also harrowed here in black. So if you look at all these four muscles, the flexor carpi ulnaris, the palmaris longus, the flexor carpi radialis, and also the pronator teres, all these four muscles are muscles of the superficial layer of the anterior compartment of the forearm. So you can see how they are placed in terms of their orientation from the medial side down to the lateral side. It's also important that we establish the relationship of the flexor carpi radialis with the median nerve. If we go back to our previous lecture on the palmaris longus, in that lecture we described that the median nerve is located or seen between the palmaris longus and also the flexor carpi radialis. This is where we have the palmaris longus, and this is where we have the flexor carpi radialis. So you see the median nerve passing in between these two muscles. Then if you go more distally, you see that the median nerve is then seen to be positioned deep to the flexor carpi radialis. And this is what is projected here in this image. So before the median nerve dives finally into the carpal tunnel, it is seen to be positioned deep to the tendon of the flexor carpi radialis. So from this region down around the inferior part, you see the median nerve then running behind the flexor retinaculum. Don't forget that the flexor retinaculum forms the roof of the carpal tunnel. And within the carpal tunnel is where we say we have the median nerve. So the median nerve with the tendons of other muscles in the flexor compartment are then seen within the carpal tunnel. Let's look at the nervation and the blood supply of the flexor carpi radialis. Flexor Carpi Radialis is innervated by the median nerve, which of course is a branch from the brachial plexus. We already highlighted in our previous lecture when we described the muscles of the forearm. We say that the muscles in the anterior compartment of the forearm are innervated mainly by the median nerve, while just a few of these muscles are innervated by the ulnar nerve. The blood supply of this muscle is by the ulnar artery, and it is supplied by recurrent branches from the ulnar artery. It is also seen to have additional supply from the radial artery. Thanks for watching.